it was a treat, you know. I mean, I just felt like it was a gift every day.
Sam Elliott, the deep voice, the rugged cowboy charm, the face that defined a generation of Western heroes. At 81, he's still commanding attention, not just for his unforgettable performances, but for the quiet wisdom that only decades in Hollywood can bring. For a man who has shared the screen with legends and held audiences spellbound for over half a century, fans often wonder who left a mark on him along the way. In a recent interview, Elliott surprised everyone by opening up about 7 actresses who had a profound impact on him. Not scandals, not gossip, but admiration, inspiration, and unforgettable collaborations. These women shaped his understanding of acting, taught him lessons about the craft, and even changed how he approached his own roles. From early career co-stars to contemporary icons, the list is a journey through Hollywood history and through the personal reflections of one of its most enduring stars. What makes this revelation so compelling isn't the names themselves, it's the stories behind them. Each actress represents a chapter in Elliott's life, challenges faced, breakthroughs achieved, and moments that left him in awe. Some inspired him on set, some off, but all contributed to the man who continues to embody calm, understated power on screen. In this video, we'll explore the actresses who influenced Sam Elliott the most, why they left such a mark on him, and the moments that defined their connections. It's a story of admiration, respect, and the rare humility of a man who has seen it all yet continues to learn from those around him. This isn't gossip, it's a journey into the heart and mind of Sam Elliott, revealing the people who helped shape a legend. Sam Elliott didn't arrive in Hollywood with a golden ticket or an instant starry reputation. Born in Sacramento, California in 1944, he grew up with a rugged, independent streak that would later define both his on-screen presence and his personal life. From a young age, Elliott had a fascination with storytelling, whether it was through books, movies, or the tales of family and neighbors. His voice, even then, carried a resonance that hinted at the gravitas audiences would come to associate with him. Decades later, before he became the silver-haired, mustachioed icon, Elliott navigated the often unforgiving streets of Hollywood as a young actor hungry to prove himself. Early roles were small, often fleeting, and sometimes uncredited. He learned quickly that talent alone wasn't enough. Persistence, patience, and the ability to leave an impression with even a single line were essential. During these formative years, he crossed paths with actresses who were equally dedicated, talented, and ambitious, women whose performances left a lasting impact on him. It was these early collaborations that would plant the seeds of admiration and respect. Elliott often speaks of watching actresses transform scenes, elevating simple scripts into moments of magic. He learned about timing, nuance, and emotional honesty not from textbooks, but from watching these women breathe life into their characters. For a young actor striving to find his footing, these experiences were priceless. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, Elliott's dedication began to pay off. He started landing more substantial roles, often portraying rugged, quiet men who could convey more with a look than a monologue. On set, he noticed the subtle ways actresses influenced the tone of a scene, the way a glance could change the story, or how timing a line perfectly could elevate a moment from ordinary to unforgettable. These lessons stayed with him, forming the foundation of his approach to acting. Even as his career grew, Elliott never lost sight of the people who helped him along the way. While some might focus on fame or accolades, he has always credited his admiration for actresses who taught him what it meant to fully inhabit a character. Their influence shaped not only his craft, but also his perspective on collaboration, respect, and humility in a notoriously competitive industry. The 7 actresses he recently named, though he has never sought to sensationalize the story, reflect decades of learning, inspiration, and mutual respect. Each one represents a moment where he observed artistry in its purest form, moments that shaped his understanding of what it means to be a professional and, more importantly, a human being in Hollywood. These formative years weren't just about roles or scripts. They were about connection, mentorship, and the subtle yet profound ways people influence one another. For Sam Elliott, The lessons learned alongside these women have stayed with him for over 50 years, guiding him through a career that has spanned stage, television, and film. By the end of this early chapter, it's clear that Elliott's admiration isn't fleeting or superficial. It's a deep recognition of talent, dedication, and the human capacity to inspire. The actresses he names today are more than co-stars. They are teachers, guides, and muses, each leaving an imprint on a legend still learning and evolving even in his 81st year. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, Sam Elliott was no longer just a promising young actor. He was on the verge of becoming the Hollywood figure audiences now associate with rugged charm and understated gravitas. With his deep, resonant voice and naturally commanding presence, he began landing more substantial roles in film and television, slowly carving out a niche that blended stoicism, intensity, and authenticity. During this period, Elliott had the opportunity to work alongside some of Hollywood's most talented actresses. While he has never focused on gossip or personal drama, he often recalls the artistry and dedication these women brought to every set. For him, observing their craft was both educational and inspirational. Watching how a co-star could shift the energy of a scene, how a subtle look or carefully timed pause could elevate the entire performance, left a profound mark on him. These experiences would stay with Elliott for decades, shaping his approach to acting and collaboration. It was during this time that Elliott began to understand the true power of on-screen chemistry. He wasn't just looking to play his part. He was learning to interact, to listen, and to respond in ways that made every scene feel genuine. Some actresses he admired had an almost magnetic quality, pulling him and others into the moment in ways that made even ordinary scripts feel extraordinary. He often credits these performances with teaching him the importance of patience, subtlety, and presence, lessons no acting school could fully impart. As his career progressed, Elliott's breakout roles in projects like The Big Lebowski, Mask, and later Tombstone cemented his reputation. Critics and audiences alike began to recognize not only his talent, but also his ability to elevate every scene he was in. Behind the camera, however, Elliott was quietly absorbing lessons from his co-stars, actresses whose professionalism, intensity, and dedication to authenticity made a lasting impression. For Elliott, these moments weren't just about acting. They were about human connection, respect, and artistry. Even in scenes where he was the center of attention, Elliott often found himself studying his co-stars. How did they approach complex emotional beats? How did they carry a scene when dialogue was minimal? How did they inspire the men around them to perform at their best? These questions guided him, and the answers he discovered helped shape not only his craft, but his perspective on collaboration in Hollywood. Elliott has often said that acting is as much about listening as it is about speaking. The actresses he admires most, he explains, taught him this principle in practice by embodying their characters fully, committing to every detail, and trusting their instincts. They elevated every scene they touched. Their influence was not fleeting. It became woven into his own approach to the profession. By the time Elliott was starring in films that would define his legacy, these lessons were deeply ingrained. He no longer simply acted. He responded, connected, and co-created. And in interviews, he often emphasizes that the women he names today were instrumental in helping him reach this level of artistry. Each one represents a period of growth, inspiration, and professional admiration that has lasted throughout his long and remarkable career. Looking back, Elliott sees these actresses not as fleeting collaborators, but as teachers, guides, and muses. They showed him the subtle ways one can transform a scene, influence the energy of a set, and create moments that audiences will remember for a lifetime. Even now, decades later, their impact is evident in every nuanced performance, every careful pause, and every line delivered with the quiet authority that defines Sam Elliott. By the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, Sam Elliott had firmly established himself as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. His signature mustache, deep voice, and calm intensity made him instantly recognizable, and he became the go-to actor for westerns, dramas, and character-driven roles. Yet, despite his rising fame, Elliott remained humble and attentive, always observing. always learning. During this golden period, he had the privilege of working alongside actresses who would leave lasting impressions on him. These were women whose talent and dedication elevated every project they touched. For Elliott, it wasn't about romantic involvement or gossip. It was about artistry, professionalism, and the unspoken lessons actors share with one another on set. He often describes these women as guiding lights, whose work ethic and emotional depth helped him refine his own craft. Some co-stars commanded attention with effortless brilliance, transforming simple lines into unforgettable moments. Others brought quiet, nuanced power, demonstrating how subtlety could carry an entire scene. Elliott observed everything, the way they listened, reacted, and built chemistry. He credits these actresses with teaching him patience, timing, and the importance of trusting one's instincts. In many ways, they were mentors without intending to be, shaping his approach to acting and collaboration in ways no formal training ever could. As his career soared, Elliott became known for his professionalism and dependability, traits that were shaped in part by the actresses he worked with. He noticed that the best performances often emerged when actors were willing to inspire one another rather than compete. On some sets, the actress's commitment pushed him to dig deeper into his own roles, resulting in performances that were richer, more authentic, and emotionally resonant. Elliott has said that every scene is a conversation, not just between characters, but between actors themselves. The 7 actresses he named recently each exemplified this principle in unique ways. Some challenged him, forcing him to adapt and grow. Others nurtured the scene's energy, creating moments that felt alive and unrepeatable. Each encounter left a lasting imprint on him, both as an actor and as a person navigating the highs and lows of Hollywood. Even as Elliott began to receive awards, critical acclaim, and widespread recognition, he never forgot the lessons these women taught him. He speaks of them with reverence, emphasizing how their influence extended beyond acting techniques. They modeled resilience, professionalism, and the courage to be fully present, qualities that Elliott adopted in his own life. By the time the 2000s arrived, Elliott's body of work reflected decades of learning, observation, and collaboration. His performances carried the echoes of these formative experiences, shaped as much by his co-stars as by his own innate talent. When fans watch him on screen, they witness not only his mastery of voice and presence, but also the subtle ways he internalized lessons from the women who inspired him. Ultimately, Part 3 of Elliott's story is a testament to admiration, respect, and the power of mentorship in Hollywood. The actresses he names were not merely colleagues. They were teachers, muses, and partners in craft, leaving traces of brilliance that helped mold one of the most enduring actors of his generation. Their influence, Elliott emphasizes, is woven into every role he plays, every scene he elevates, and every performance that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. In reflecting on these years, Elliott demonstrates that true artistry is collaborative. Fame, accolades, and recognition are fleeting, but the lessons learned from those we admire endure, quietly, profoundly, and forever shaping the work we leave behind. At 81, Sam Elliott stands as one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, a man whose presence carries decades of experience, wisdom, and quiet authority. His career has spanned westerns, dramas, and character-driven films, and through it all, Elliott has remained remarkably grounded. Yet, behind the iconic voice and rugged exterior lies a thoughtful man who never forgets the people who shaped him. The 7 actresses he recently named are more than just co-stars. They are part of Elliott's story. They influenced his craft, inspired him to dig deeper, and challenged him to grow as an actor and a person. Speaking about them now, Elliott's admiration is palpable. There is no bravado, no sensationalism, only genuine respect. Each actress represents a chapter in his journey, lessons learned, boundaries expanded, and artistic growth achieved. Reflecting on his life, Elliott often notes how rare it is to encounter people who leave a lasting impact. Hollywood can be glamorous but also transient, filled with fleeting relationships and passing fame. Yet the women he admires did more than act alongside him. They taught him, shaped him, and elevated the work he did. He recalls moments on set where a glance, a pause, or a perfectly timed line would illuminate a scene in a way that left him in awe. Those moments weren't just professional, they were deeply human, connecting artists in ways that go beyond words. Even now, Elliott carries these lessons into his daily life. His performances reflect patience, presence, and subtlety, qualities he learned from watching and working with these remarkable actresses. In interviews, he emphasizes the importance of collaboration, humility, and respect, values instilled through decades of observing the women who inspired him. Their influence is woven into the very fabric of his career, ensuring that his work resonates with authenticity and emotional truth. Outside of work, Elliott lives a quieter life. He enjoys time with family, long walks, and the simple pleasures that come with experience and age. Yet his connection to the past, to mentors, collaborators, and those who shaped him, remains strong. The admiration he expresses today is both a personal reflection and a reminder of how important it is to acknowledge those who help us grow. At 81, Sam Elliott embodies the balance between legend and humanity. He is a man who has seen the highs and lows of fame, who has navigated the complexities of a long career, and who continues to find inspiration in those around him. The actresses he admires are not merely names on a list, they are symbols of excellence, resilience, and the enduring power of artistry. For audiences, Elliott's story offers a lesson. True admiration and respect transcend age, fame, and time. The people who inspire us leave an indelible mark, shaping our choices, our work, and our legacy. Sam Elliott, with his unmistakable presence and enduring talent, is living proof of that truth. And so, as he reflects on his life and career, one thing is clear: the mark left by those he admires is not fleeting. It resonates through every role he plays, every performance he delivers, and every story he tells. In celebrating these 7 actresses, Elliott celebrates not only his own journey, but also the collaborative spirit, mentorship, and inspiration that make great art possible. At 81, Sam Elliott isn't just a Hollywood icon. He's a man who understands the value of influence, the power of respect, and the enduring legacy of those who leave a lasting imprint on our lives.